मुझे ही नहीं पता था आपके अंदर असली रॉकी मौजूद है।
शिव शास्त्री।
आज से पहले मैं सिर्फ जिंदा था, लेकिन अब मैं जिंदगी जीने लगा हूँ। सवाल ये नहीं कि तुम कितनी जोर से गिरते हो, सवाल ये है कि क्या तुम गिरकर उठते हो या नहीं।
I am absolutely overjoyed to be joined by the team of Shiv Shastri Balboa, director Ajayan, Nargis Fakhri actor Nargis Fakhri, and of course Anupam Kher. So a huge welcome to all of you on Filme Shilmy. It's such a pleasure to have you all.
Nice to see you within 3 months.
Yes, absolutely. ऊंचाई के बाद और भी ऊंचाई हो गई है अब अनुपम सर.
Right. Nice years.
Yes, exactly, Nargis. We're meeting after so long, so I'm really excited about that. But look, Anupam sir, I'm gonna go straight into you. Actually, it has taken more than 3 decades for you to take center stage in a film. At a time when others are retiring, you've not only maintained yourself, but you've broken the barriers as a hero. So tell me, what has been your motivation over the years to continue and strive for perfection as an artist?
You know, many years when I was born, I used to always wonder, why did my father name me Anupam? The meaning of Anupam is who can't be compared with anybody. So I had to live up to my name given to me by my father. So I think as I will borrow Nargis's word, stereotype people. I always thought that I was a hero in all my films. This is an classification is done by uneducated people, that this is character actor, this is villain, this is comic actor, and this and that. But yes, the audience today welcomes people with the age group that I'm in as protagonists, as the lead actors, etc., etc. And these stories are written by younger writers and younger directors, being directed by them, like Ajayan. So that's fascinating, because had it been written by a 70+ person, the energy of the film would have been completely different. But it's the energy given to the film by a person like him, and I'm very happy and fortunate, humbled that I get a possibility of doing such roles. And then when you're next to Neena, Gupta, and Nargis, and Sharib, and Jugal Hansraj, it's a very good-looking cast.
Sure. And I think, Ajay, I think when it comes to you, I mean, Metro Park is definitely a series which everyone has loved. I mean, as a Gujarati, I think I've met a lot of fellow NRIs like that in the UK. So to see it, it's no surprise to see such representations in the US. But I think when it comes to Shiv Shastri Balboa, the fact that you have done Metro Park, which is obviously set based on NRIs in America, how has that really shaped the way you presented this film?
Yeah, I mean, this is all in some sense the setting of Shiv Shastri Balboa happens to be in US, but the story in its heart is very Indian. You know, the only context in this film, as the title would suggest, is it's about Shiv Shastri, who's a retiree, who is finding the hero within, which is Rocky Balboa. Is a big fan of the Rocky series, and that inspires him to take this journey. And through the journey, he finds himself and he helps a lot of people. That's the core of this film. So yeah, it is just though it is again we're talking about, as Anupam sir was talking about, we also have a tendency to somehow classify films into NRI films, you know, or art films or OTT films. So I think it's time that we break all that barriers now post-COVID, that we think about films as for what they are. This is a family family fun film. So we expect you to come to the theaters with your family and watch this and have a smile on your face while enjoying this film.
Sure, for sure. I think that's definitely the effects of every content that you've made, I think, as well. And I think you've managed to really capture that really well through your works and over the years. But Nargis, last time we met, like I told you, it was during the Mala Mal shooting in Bournemouth for Household 3, and now you're making a Bollywood comeback, which Shiv Shastri Balboa. So tell me, from then till now, what changes have you felt in your personality?
That's a good question. I think back then it was a different time for me, and then it's been 10 years now since I started, or actually a little bit more. So I'm definitely a different person. I feel like back then I was very green and I didn't really know anything about the industry or what I was doing. And throughout those years, slowly, I've learned so much. After COVID, I'm back in action. I think the little break I had taken and COVID together made it seem like a huge break, but we were all on a 2-year break.
Yeah.
I think that time helped me to rediscover myself, to think about all the things that I learned while living in India and working in India, and I was ready to get back to work. So I'm actually super grateful that, 2023, wow, saying that sounds weird. 2023 has absolutely spectacular. With Shiv Shastri Balboa coming out February 10th, I'm super excited for the audiences to come to the theater to watch me back in action, back in Bollywood with this amazing cast and an amazing team that I worked with. So yes, here I am.
Right. Now, when I look at Anupamji, he amazes me. In fact, I was just watching Saransh again before doing this interview, and that scene where he speaks to a government official, and he's in tears. That the way he manages to encapsulate himself into every scene is just something which I find extremely fascinating. But tell me, sir, when it comes to not just Saransh, of course, but of course Shiv Shastri Balboa, when it comes to the roles that you do, how does the world around you and your life experiences, I guess, absorb into your roles?
I'm a people's person, and that's a plus point for me. I am not a loner. I don't like to. If I have to go for a holiday, I will go to a crowded place, not on a beach or in a jungle. I think my repertoire of emotions come from people, and I am in a profession where I represent people. I represent emotions. I create emotions. So I know people. I know you, even though you have done this is the second time we are doing an interview, but I know you. I'm interested in people. When I talk to somebody, I'm actually interested in him. So that gives me great strength and great knowledge. So when I have to portray that emotion, somewhere in the back of my mind, which is in acting terms called emotional memory, which somewhere triggers off.
Right.
So when I was doing Shiv Balboa, and also having done so much of work, it's very easy for me to be competent. But I always believe that competency is the biggest enemy of brilliance. So what I do is to make my job difficult. This role is of an ordinary man who has an extraordinary journey in this film.
Yeah.
To play ordinary man is the most difficult thing. You have to use all your acting skills, what not to do. And that's very difficult. If it's like asking a great dancer to dance badly.
Right.
So I'm not saying I'm a great actor that time, but I'm full of energy when I'm acting. There's some posters behind they're all acting. Because in the initial 15 years, I just wanted to show everything that I had. But I was walking past nowhere, but I'm now walking slowly somewhere. I'm comfortable and I'm wanting to make, when you see the film, you will actually believe that this man, having done 520 films, he is Shiv Shastri Balboa.
Yes.
So to be able to make the audiences convincing for them, it takes a lot of action.
Right. And I think also what I loved about your preparation as well, I know you had gone off sweets, I think from December, in order to sort of build on your physique. And I think I see your Instagram, your social media. It's so inspirational to see, the sort of workouts you do. It makes me feel very energetic and optimistic about life as well. But tell me, how has that physical fitness element helped you with mental strength too? I mean, you're mentally strong anyway. I'm pretty sure about that. But how has it kind of enhanced that aspect, do you think?
So I'm very happy that you picked that up, because I think the biggest achievement of my life is to not eat sweets for the last 53 days.
Oh wow, congrats.
Amazing.
That I think I had never thought. But I always put myself to test whether I'm capable of doing that or not. And because you want to bring out the hero within. So I never thought. So 12th of December, my trainer brought this machine which turned out to be faulty later on after a few days.
Okay.
And she said, your body is extra. So I said, what should I do? She said, quit sweets. And after 1 month, and she said, oh, my batteries are not working.
God, that's very funny.
I stopped it. I am the one person who cannot finish any meal without sweets.
Yeah.
I first used to come home and say, Meetha kya hai? There were 11 years I used to get rasgulla from Hare Rama Hare Krishna, and every night I used to eat that.
Oh,
So
wow.
for me to do that, I think I'm Shiv Shastri Balboa has gotten up. Quitting sweets has given me, I think, extra energy. I don't realize it. Somebody told me, you will snap at people, you will go mad, you will throw tantrums. No, I've not done that. I quit smoking. Not that I used to smoke much. I used to have 3-4 cigarettes. I was once traveling to Sydney and I was going for the shooting of Hotel Mumbai. Very brilliant film, brilliant role. And as I was nearing Sydney, 1.5 hours before, I was saying, oh my God, the moment I'll get done, I'll get to smoke. The moment I get down. And I suddenly realized, I'm an idiot. I'm going for one of the finest films of my life. And I am only thinking about when am I going to get smoked. So I called the air hostess. I said, this is my last packet of cigarettes ever. And I gave it to her. And it's been, I think, 9 years now. I have not.
Oh, that deserves class.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible, sir. That is amazing.
Human mind is very powerful, very strong. Human mind can do anything. And to test yourself, you have to put yourself to these tests, both as an actor and as a person. Did I speak too much?
No, that was great. And so,
you hit the nail on the head, and I'm glad you mentioned this. And first of all, congratulations and well done on achieving that, because it's so tough. I mean,
Yeah.
so the fact that you managed to quit, I think, is pretty awesome, and I think it's a huge inspiration. But I'm glad you mentioned about the power of the mind, and I think if there's anyone who I genuinely have been very touched by, because I've been watching a lot of her interviews of late, it is Nargis, with the way she has really learned and really introspected and taking that time out to really think about that. I mean, Nargis, I mean, of course, in Shiv Shastri Balboa, it's a complete 360-degree turn to what you began with in Rockstar, right? Like, I mean, I still, I mean, I'm sure you've heard that a lot, but that film really speaks to me in so many different ways. But I think when you look from then till now again, how, has taken time off, I guess, helped you to introspect, not just on, of course, Shiv Shastri Balboa, but even here as well, your first character. Do you kind of see her in a different light now that you've obviously had that experience of introspection?
I mean, I think all of us in life go through different phases. And as you grow, you change your thought process through, because you've experienced different things. You change what you want in life. You change how you see yourself. Definitely here was a totally different Nargis who played here compared to today, Nargis playing Sia. So it's kind of like a new phase for me, or a reinvention in many different ways. Definitely the wisdom that I have now through my experiences, the freedom I have now, less fear, because I think when you're younger and you don't know what you're doing, and you kind of have fear, you're afraid to fail. I'm no longer afraid to fail. I want to explore different characters. I want to get rid of the boundaries that I had in the past because I was told I had to do this. This was the path I had to take. This was the vision that other people had for me. Now I have my own vision of the way I want to live my life. And I'm not afraid of pursuing roles that are small or pursuing films that are smaller because I know that the story itself is most important. And I know that each character is very important. And I've said this before, it's like making a cake. And I refer to cakes because baking, like I love to cook, but baking, I'm terrible at because the minute you're off on a measurement, no matter it's the eggs, the oil, the flour, say a teaspoon of oil goes missing, your entire cake tastes different. The moisture is not there. Same as a character who might have a small part, but if that character is not there, it might change the whole entire feeling of the film. So I feel that this is how I've grown, that my perception for my work is different now.
Wow.
But you could have given another example, but this baking the I don't know that, but that was very well said.
Okay, thank you.
Right. No, the very, but this is what I'm saying. She's so articulate with her thoughts. I think it's just so admirable. Honestly, it's incredible. I'm absolutely touched by some of the stuff that Nargis has had to say in previous interviews as well. It's remarkable. But I think, look, if I can connect all three of you together, I think, I mean, Ajayan, I'm going to direct this question to you, but you've all done not just Indian films, but films also in the West. You've kind of done the crossover work that we've seen. But Ajayan, what is your view regarding the representation of Indians in movies made abroad? And how accurate do you feel they represent the NRI story?
Yeah, that is one thing I had always had slight problems with myself. It's always the glossy side of the Americas, which is always shown. It's always a story which is set in New York or California or the Times Square. Always there is features in the film. And this Shiv Shastri Balboa is, I think, one of the very rare films where it's actually set in Ohio and Pennsylvania. In a sense, small villages, where there are issues about unemployment, illegal immigration. So there are a lot of these minor issues that is being, talked about in this film, and in a humorous way, that is. And I think that's one of the USPs, especially USPs of the film, where, and I was very clear that these stories have to be represented. For example, the story of Shiv Shastri Balboa was itself inspired from my own personal life. From my dad came to stay with me, I realized that for him, beyond the glitz and glamour of living in a Western society, life is a boring experience, especially for somebody like a senior citizen who have lived most of his life in US. And I thought to myself, if I'll be open for the idea of my dad trying to reinvent himself or trying to set forth on a new journey. So that basic idea got me thinking, and that's how this film Shiv Shastri Balboa happened.
Sure, definitely. And I think also Anupam sir, I was watching this conflict, this sort of event that you were at, and I think you were with Rishabh Shetty, the main actor of Kantara, and I was very, very intrigued by a statement that you made about, and I think which is also very relevant, is the fact that audiences now seem to be wanting Indian stories, not just the Western touches. I mean, of course, that's great, but, I think it's just that Indian, that coreness that they are able to relate to, which are not just escapism, but also a sense of engagement is what they really need. And if we think about it, last year, some of the biggest hits that were there, I mean, even if we think about your film, The Kashmir Files, great film. And it also talked about an issue which was not heard. And that also really touched sentiments of people who unfortunately have faced such a genocide and have been privy to that. But as an industry now, it almost seems like nostalgia and sentimental value is also a really sellable quality. What can be done as an industry to reach up to that demand and preference of cinema now?
So it's the Hindi cinema which is confused. The so-called regional cinema is not confused. They know what they are doing. They are telling the regional stories. When I say regional stories, they are stories which originated from their zameen se jise judi kehte. Their whether Kantara, whether it is RRR, whether it is Pushpa. We are the one who are confused with Tarantino's of the world for a long time. And we are the oldest civilization. We have millions and millions of stories to be told, which are happening now. So I'm not and I'm part of that confusion. We are so weak that we allowed Westerns to call our industry Bollywood.
Yeah. Yes.
No other industry in the world is referred as French wood or China wood or Korean wood. Or we are so proud and we constantly say Bollywood. What the hell is Bollywood?
What is Bollywood?
Yeah, it is there. They want to stereotype you and call it not Indian film industry, not Indian cinema.
They stereotyped us, we stereotyped us.
We accepted it. And now we call our regional cinema Tollywood, Collywood, Mollywood.
Yeah.
It's because we were ruled for 1,000 years by foreigners. So we still have a slave mentality where we are very happy. Oh, we are relating ourselves to something called Hollywood. So I personally feel that's not, but things take time. We're just a 75-year-old country. Means after about 10, 15 years, things will change. At the end of it, you still have Kantara is an Indian film, even if it is coming from Kannada cinema. The RRR is Indian film, even if it is coming from Telugu film industry. And the biggest achievement of our film is that it is not very correctly said by him, very correctly he said, it is not shot in the main locations of America. You see villages of America. You see small towns. You see the life of Elsa over there who is working there. You see the life of Sia who is working in a small town selling donuts. You see an aspiring singer, Sharib Hashmi, as Cinnamon Singh, working in a gas station.
And the bikers who want your job.
And the bikers who want the job being taken by Indians. So that's why it makes it very unique film. The landscape suddenly becomes very real. There is no decoration done to it. So that's why it's a very important film of our times.
And actually on that note also, and I think I'm also very in a way hopeful that I'm sure Hindi cinema will definitely sort of reflect back on perhaps the things that have unfortunately been overlooked or perhaps have been going on. So I'm definitely very hopeful in that. I think what you said was very true. I think I think as a country we're still really fighting back the colonial past that's been there for thousands of years, and I think that's definitely, I'm just really glad that at least Indians are now representing us globally, and now we are literally making content which strikes a chord. I mean, I've never seen an Indian film like RRR that's struck such a chord with Western audiences. I mean, it's incredible to see that as well. But I think Nargis as well, when we talk about your journey, I think in the film industry, obviously it's not been a cakewalk for sure. I'm sure you've definitely had your sort of sets of struggles. But what has been your approach to dealing with setbacks and regrets, especially in the film industry as well?
I mean, I don't have any regrets because I just believe everything's supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and then all the things that do happen in my life and all these experiences actually make me a better person and helps me to grow and become wiser. So I just look at life differently, and my perception on the ups and downs are very different. I guess I try to stay positive and be grateful most often than upset or bitter. So I think that really helps. And then I always know that when we fail, we have another chance to do better. And the more failures I have, the more learning experience that gives me, where then for the future, I just do better and I just get better. I just have more understanding. And I think we say this in Shiv Shastri Balboa, where you say it's not about you falling on the ground, but it's like how you get up. You got to still keep going. You can't just stay on the floor.
Sure. And on a very last final note, Anupam ji, I mean, if I can. You've begun shooting for the vaccine war, and we'll be seeing you as Jaya Prakash Narayan in Emergency, which I'm so excited about. I think it's going to be incredible to see you in both these titles. So if you can give us a bit of a sneak peek of what we can expect from your performances, and how has the experience been shooting for it?
Becomes a very big hit. My next film is a film called Signature, which again we have produced. It's about a man whose wife is on life support, and he can keep her alive only as long as he can fit the bill of that ventilator. And the doctors keep asking him, so can you sign this paper? And he says, are there any chances of her being staying alive? They say, yeah, we can't say that. So he said, then how can I sign this paper? I'm very excited about that. Vaccine War is a fabulous success story of how India made vaccine and vaccinated 1.3 billion people. That's fascinating. It's very fascinating story. And then there is Kagas 2. Then there is one more film called IV-71, which is about the 71 war, how the Raw had, I don't want to give away the plot, which is very exciting. But the most exciting is also Kangana's directorial venture. I think she's one of the finest directors that I have worked with, where I play Jayaprakash Narayan. Yes. So we can tell these stories today. I have the luxury. I'm the richest man today because I have the luxury of making these movies.
Yes.
So I have less bank balance, but I have a rich heritage as an actor. And that's what I came to this city for, to become an actor who will not leave, who will still work for a long, long time and do some wonderful work.
No, absolutely. And I think all three of you are testaments to that vivacious sort of nature of life. And I think Shiv Shastri Balboa will definitely represent that. But it was such a pleasure to have you all on Filme Shilmy. So a huge thank you to you all for joining me. Always such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.